Procedure system. I want to talk briefly about search warrants and the exceptions to the warrant requirement. We are required, the government is required, and the state is required, the DA's office is required to have a search warrant for any search that affects Fourth Amendment rights. Some recent case law that's come out is if I want to track your phone, if I believe you've been drug dealing, you've been picking up drugs in Texas or wherever, I can write up an affidavit or have an agent write up an affidavit, and I would write up an application to the court saying we want a search warrant to actually ping this person's phone to see where they go, on a map basically. And so the phone company's sending me those pings. We now have to get a search warrant to do that. So it's a probable cause standard, and you see the definition there in your book. But essentially, if the government or law enforcement wants to search something such as a house or even a business or a cell phone, then you have to have probable cause from a judge. A judge has to say, yeah, there's probable cause that he committed that crime. Does that make sense? So, in other words, if my undercover went and bought, in Bob Jones' case, my undercover went and bought cocaine from Bob Jones's house on 125 Combs Street, then I would go to a judge with the agent. The agent would write up an affidavit stating, on this date, our undercover purchased drugs from Bob Jones at 125 Combs Street. We would like to search that premises for drug ledgers, other drugs, cell phones, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It has to be specific. So the judge would sign off and say, yeah, there's probable cause that, in other words, he used that house for drug trafficking, or that evidence will be found in that house that will lead to evidence of drug trafficking. And so the judge will sign it, say, yes, you can go search that house within a certain number of days. So the DEA will go search that home and to try to find evidence, and then we will make a return to the judge saying, Judge, here's what we found. So that's kind of a search warrant. Now, here are the exceptions to the warrant requirement, and you're really talking about arrest warrants here. If an officer sees a misdemeanor, for example, he sees a DUI, he sees a public drunk, then he does not have to go get an arrest warrant to arrest that person. He can just arrest them, and then later he'll get go through the process of having charges filed in municipal court or getting him indicted. Now, probable cause for a felony. If he sees you rob that bank, then obviously he can arrest you, right? Same way with exigent circumstances. If they're in a car, and let's say there's marijuana smoke billowing out of the car, and he sees bags of marijuana in the car, well, he can take you out and arrest you because they're exigent circumstances. If he said, hey, wait here, I'm going to go get an arrest warrant, I'll be right back, that would, number one, take too much time, and number two, the suspect would likely just drive off. So those are a couple of exceptions where you got exigent circumstances. Hot pursuit, obvious. If you see the bank robber running out of the bank and you chase him and he goes into a house, you can go into that house and arrest him. So again, I know I'm glazing over these, but if anybody has any questions about these are extremely important to remember. But those are the exceptions to the warrant requirement. If anybody has any questions about this, I know I threw a lot at you with all these steps in the criminal procedure process, but if anybody wants to talk about it, wants to email about it, I'm available. Thank you.